Reed Howie, Howie Chiropractic. September is Vertebral Subluxation Awareness Month, and I just kind of want to explain and educate you on what vertebral subluxation is and how detrimental it is to the human body. Most people aren't aware of how bad this thing really is, because most people just assume that when you're old, you're supposed to have problems. I disagree with that, okay? And most people that consider themselves old really aren't all that old. The human body was designed to live and be healthier and stronger than most people will allow you to believe it to be. So recently, over the 4th of July weekend, I went on a mission trip with 20 other chiropractors, and it really opened my eyes to what stress does. Here we are adjusting these kids. Over 2 days, we went to two schools and 3 orphanages and saw over 6,000 people. And what was amazing is these children didn't have the vertebral subluxations, the stress that us Americans have. And you would think, living in these kind of conditions, this is their school, okay? Notice that there's windows missing. It's not the best. And here's continuation. See, there's rubble. This is where their playground is. Keep going. More playgrounds. Keep going. Look at this. Oh, sorry. See, this is where they play soccer and basketball. This is the basketball hoop. And look, at the bottom of the stairs, look what we got. So this is the conditions that they go to school in. So if this is the conditions they go to school in, what's their living conditions look like? Probably much inferior to that. And we as Americans would say that that would be stressful, okay? And this, like, that was the school. That was the school that they go to, or that's a typical classroom. And then we went to an orphanage, which was a government federal institute, okay? Notice that there's grass. This country, Peru, gets less than an inch of rain a year. So it's not natural to see grass anywhere. But this was a government institute. The buildings look nicer and everything looks nicer. But what was surprising is these children that live in these areas were much more subluxated, had much more vertebral subluxation, much more nerve interference and nerve stress. Now, the thing is that it made me start thinking, like, wow, why are these kids better off than American kids, or just Americans in general? And it's because of stress. Okay, we're going to talk about the 3 T's. But before that, I just want to let you know that the nerve system is the master healing system of the body, controlling, regulating, and adapting every function of the body. Everyday stress causes the bones of the spine to misalign, or what chiropractors call vertebral subluxation. The body is always striving to correct these vertebral subluxation on its own. However, the stresses that we encounter on a daily basis overcome the body's natural ability to correct these vertebral subluxations on its own. We live in a very stressful environment that continues to get even more stressful every single day. That's why all the chiropractors I know use chiropractic on a lifetime basis for themselves and their families, getting their own spine checked 1 to 3 times a week, checking their own family 2 to 5 times a week, and been checking their children since the day their kids were born. And those that understand the value of chiropractic utilize chiropractic on a lifetime basis for themselves and their family as well. Now, as far as the 3 T's go, we got thoughts. As chiropractors, we consider them basically stresses: thoughts, toxins, and traumas. Okay? So one of the things, we think of thoughts, stress, right? But one thing we don't think about is money. Now, that is a stressor in American society. We are the only creatures on this planet that have to pay to live on this planet. All the other creatures here live for free. Does that add any stress to anyone's life, right? At the end of the money, there's still months, right? In a lot of situations, so that adds stress to a lot of people's lives. Another thing, news, okay? What kind of stress does that put on people? There's a cell biologist by the name of Bruce Lipton that he understood that a cell can only be moving towards growth or protection, okay? So fear puts us in protection. News is all about fear. Turn it on. You'll see it's all about fear. So that's bombarding and putting stress on our nerve system without you even thinking about it. So that leads to a lot of other issues, okay? Now, toxins. A lot of people, when they consider toxins, they think about fumes, smoking, gas fumes, things like that. But a lot of people don't think about this as being toxins. Lori might think of this as being toxins, but a lot of people don't. You know, some people, this is their regular diet, right?
Like my lunch.
Keep going. All right, so these things are all putting stress on the body, toxins. Another thing is this, okay, we all understand that these things have side effects, but what are those side effects doing? They're putting toxins into the body. The body has to heal itself, and then it also has to deal with the toxins that are going in, such as these kinds of things. And living in the South, this is definitely a toxin. We're probably pretty familiar with this one, right? The yellow season, right? All this pollen and things put extra stresses on the body, and that's a bad thing. So, traumas. Most people think of traumas, especially as a chiropractor, right? This is the kind of traumas that most people ideally think of as fender benders, right? But how about this, okay? How about that? I mean, these are stresses, these are traumas. But this is a trauma that a lot of people don't even think about. Does this look like any of you, maybe during your workday? How about this, okay? Text neck, right? So look at these stresses, okay? We got stress here, here, and there. Okay, that is your brainstem, all right? When somebody wants to kill you or knock you out real quick, guess where they go? The guillotine here. Hang someone here, okay? This brainstem is pretty important, so we don't want to cut off life right there. How about this? This area here controls everything in your arms. So if you have stress here, it's going to cause issues, numbness, whatever in your arms. Here, we got things that control things like your heart, your breathing, your immune system. All kinds of things are controlled, and this is what's happening to people without them even recognizing it and realizing it. So now we go to this, okay, well, what's a pool have anything to do with any of this stuff, okay? Well, a lot of people come into my office and they want a clean pool, okay? Yet they think that they're coming in looking like this and want me to bring their body to this. But in reality, this is more like what their body looks like when they come into my office, okay? A swamp, all right? It's not a swimming pool or even close to a swimming pool, all right? Another thing is this, okay? People want a nice manicured body, yard, whatever. So they come in and they think that this is what their body looks like, right? And they want me to bring it to this. But this is what they're actually looking like when they come into my office, okay? A jungle. There's a lot more work than they think. They think a couple visits, they're fine. That ain't necessarily how it works, okay? I get my spine, once again, checked at least 3 times a week. Been doing that for over a decade. I wished I would have started 30 years before that, but no one ever told me this truth, all right? So why do we brush our teeth? We all are taught at an early age as character, signify, hey, we need to brush our teeth. Even as kids, we start doing it, right? But seriously, why do we brush our teeth? I started thinking about it because, we weren't even born with a toothbrush or even teeth. But why do we have to brush our teeth? Because the stuff that we're putting in our mouth is unnatural. So that leads to having to necessitate us brushing our teeth on a regular basis. Well, I'd say those 3 T's are very unnatural to us. We weren't designed to live in the world that we live in. This nerve, it gives energy, and that fires in the brain, travels down through the spinal cord, and these bones protect that delicate material. We have a skull that protects our brain, and then these vertebrae. And these vertebrae come out through, or the nerves come out through those vertebrae. And it's much like a breaker bar. Or a circuit. It's like everything's good, but when that happens, we got bad things. That's a vertebral subluxation. It's much like when the breaker happens. There's no life, no energy going to that part of the house. So it controls more things than just aches and pains. Lungs, heart, everything in your body is controlled through this nerve system. So this is just the nerves that are just in your head, okay? And those nerves, these are just the main nerves. These aren't the little branches that go everywhere. So you start to get a picture of what can happen. What happens when you overstress the electrical system, something's going to burn out.
Blow fuse.
The same thing here. This is what's going to happen. The vertebrae kicks out, interfering with how well the body's going to function. So the subluxations are not allowing the life energy from the brain to flow from above down from your brain, down through your spinal cord, inside your nerves, and then every cell, organ, and tissue in your body. Like any structure, when there isn't balance, there's problems. So I've been checking my son since birth. So basically, we're a lot better off than what we could be better off when there's proper communication from the brain to the body. Just got to skip that. But basically, life is expressed and experienced through the nervous system. It happens no other way. And chiropractic affects your life whether or not you get checked or whether or not you don't.